What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So a couple of weeks ago, HP and I made a video talking about the 5 things that he hates about his 2020 GT500. And today we're actually going to be flipping that topic, and instead of talking about the 5 things he hates, he's going to talk about the 5 things that he loves. So let's get started.
I've owned my 2020 GT500 coming up on 90 days, and I made a previous video of 5 things that I absolutely hate about this vehicle, and there was a lot of negative comments about my opinions on my car as seen here. But I had to make this video because it really does mean a lot to me that you know that I actually do love this vehicle, and let's talk about the 5 top things that I love about it. The first thing that I love about this car is the speed. It's not just the speed, it's really a blanket statement of how fast this car is. This car is extremely capable. This is no regular car with a bunch of horsepower like a Dodge Hellcat. This car is all around fast, in a straight line, around a track, and it has everything to prove that. So just for clarification, when I tell you this car has power, this is a 762 horsepower V8, 5.2 liter, mounted with this lovely twin screw supercharger up top. Now this is actually hand built by Ford Performance, and this car is truly amazing. It is loads of fun to drive, and that is absolutely the #1 thing that I really appreciate about this car, is that it's fast. What good is a sports car if it's not fast? It's not a sports car, right? Truly, if this car wasn't fast, I wouldn't like it. And the fact that it is this fast and it packs that much power, I absolutely love about this car. Another thing I love about this car are these Recaro seats that come in this Shelby GT500. Now Ford offers 3 distinct seats that are Recaro seats for the cars. The ones that come in the premium GTs all the way up to the Mach 1, I believe. One that comes in the Shelby GT350 and the 350R. And then lastly, the Shelby GT500. Now all 3 of these seats are very similar. Only 2 are really the same shape and design, which are going to be the Shelby seats that are Recaro. And the Shelby GT500 is the only one that comes looking like this. These are the suede insert seats, and as you can see, the GT500 does get a little bit of special interior with the white color coordinated stripes. Regardless what color vehicle you choose, they come with the white kind of inserts and piping and even the stitching around the seats. I love because it is a little more exclusive to the Shelby GT500 that they get these seats. They have the nice actual Cobra logo embroidered into the seat as well, that's stitched in, but these seats are extremely comfortable for what they are. Now, just for some frame of reference, I am a very astonishingly tall 6'5", and I can be completely honest with you, I'm a little husky. It's what I wear. But I can tell you that this seat is actually very comfortable. If I were probably any bigger, I wouldn't like it as much. But Aubrey and I drove in this car in these seats for about 19 hours of total driving time back home in a period of 2 days. We took our sweet time, and honestly, we didn't mind it because these seats were actually really comfortable to be in. I love these seats in this 2020 GT500. Another thing I absolutely love about this GT500 is the suspension. The suspension in this vehicle is going to be the MagneRide adjustable dampening suspension. It's a magnetic dampening suspension, if you couldn't tell by the MagneRide name. And as much as it pains me to say it, that was actually a GM trademarked name for the suspension that they carried over from their designs on all of their other vehicles that they use it in. So like their Cadillac CTS-V, like the Corvettes, and like the Camaros, they all have the MagneRide suspension, and Ford in a joint operation said, hey, we want to use this system. I don't know how much they paid them for it, but it was definitely money well spent. Now when it comes to this MagneRide suspension, it is not only comfortable, but it is really rigid when it needs to be and when I tell it to be. Other GM vehicles, they did include sport modes and different variations to do it, but when anytime you change the actual driving mode of this vehicle, it puts it in the same suspension mode that matches that driving mode. So if you put it in track mode, it goes to the special track only selectable feature of track suspension, and then if you put it in a sport mode, it goes to the sport suspension. But even if I'm driving in normal mode, I can also change it to the normal suspension or the sport suspension if I like how it feels. So when it comes to where we live in DFW, we have a lot of concrete roads, and the roads are actually really good. But that's not to say that DFW is always like that. There's a lot of parts in DFW where the roads are really uncomfortable. Our highways have big dips because our ground gets so hot that it expands, it contracts, and the roads just get really uneven. The suspension in this car does a great job in a normal driving mode because it behaves like a normal car, still with a touch of sportiness all the way around. But when it comes to need it be sporty, it really does a really good job at being sporty. When it comes to how capable the suspension of this car is, and it comes to how nice this suspension can be and forgiving, it really is the best of both worlds. I love the suspension in this 2020 GT500. Another thing I love about this car is the transmission. Now I know me saying that I love this transmission contradicts what I said in our previous video when I said I hated the transmission. Now that brings me to the fourth thing that I hate about this car. This car came with dual clutches, but no pedal to actuate them and no gear shifter to shift the gears. This car does not have a manual transmission, and that sucks. I hate that. But what I meant by that is I really don't like and I hate that this car did not have a manual option and that you only can get an automatic transmission for this vehicle. But I do love this automatic transmission in this car. And it starts with taking off. This transmission, for those of you that don't know, is a dual clutch transmission. In simpler terms, this is a automatic manual transmission, and that it has all the properties that a manual transmission has, even down to the clutches. There's two of them, dual clutch transmission for DCT, and this car does it all for you. It pretty much operates the clutch automatically and calculates a lot of stuff to do so. Now when it comes to dual clutch transmissions, Ford did an amazing job, and so did Tremec, who actually made this transmission especially for this car. This car actuates all the gears really smoothly, and it makes the drivability of this car really drivable. And I mean that because I've driven other cars with dual clutch transmissions, and I'm gonna be honest, it feels really rigid, it feels really unnatural. It feels like somebody who has never driven a dual clutch transmission before is driving those cars. It's very notchy, and this car just does it better. When it comes to shifting this car, it shifts really smoothly, but it can also be aggressive. And I mean that is not every shift has to jerk your head around and shudder the car and feel like you're braking the car. Truthfully, whenever you drive something like a Lamborghini and you're driving it around town, it's operating the same dual clutch property of a transmission. This car just does it better because it makes it feel natural. It doesn't make it feel like it's braking the car. This car makes it seamless. Even when slowing down in a sportier mode, this car downshifts very quickly, and it does it precisely. It gets you to the correct gear. It doesn't go too high, it doesn't go too low, and it doesn't do it too much like other supercars or high performance cars with the dual clutch transmission do. Another thing is when you're pulling in and out of parking spots, you have to remember that this car is a manual transmission that's electronically actuated. So when it's letting off the clutch and it's letting in the clutch, it does it aggressively but not uncomfortably. It makes it really smooth, just like a true professional that loves to drive manual can do. Watch what I mean. Flawless every single time. I love the transmission in this 2020 GT500. And the final thing I love about this car is the price. When it comes to the price of this vehicle, it really goes unmatched. When you see how much car you get for that price, and then you compare it to other cars on the market for a similar performance or similar price. This car stickers for $80,000, and it comes with the same engine, the same driveline. Everything performance-wise about this car is the same on the cheapest base bare bones model. That means if you take out the fancy gauge cluster, the fancy navigation system, and the fancy surround sound stereo system, it's still the same car. I love that about this vehicle. Honestly, I feel like Ford probably could have charged more for this car because the performance really goes unmatched, being that it's the fastest pony car they've ever delivered, and you just get so much. It's so capable, it's so quick, it's so versatile. I love that this car is everything and the price is so cheap. it just goes unmatched. I love that about this 2020 GT500. Now I want everyone watching this video to understand that I really do love this Shelby GT500, and it goes beyond the 5 things that I hate about it and the 5 things that I actually love. Overall, this car is outstanding, and I might have a little bit of bias because it's a Ford vehicle. I might have a little bit of bias because I like Mustangs, but truthfully, this is a really fine automobile. I love this Shelby 2020 GT500, and if I could go back almost 90 days and do this over again, I would do it in a heartbeat.
So you guys, there you have it, HP's final thoughts on his GT500. He actually does love this car. He just is an incredibly picky car owner.
But guys, as always, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video. And down below, tell me, what do you love about this car?